right, so we interrupt your Thanksgiving preparations for this very special episode of the We Make Supplements podcast. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Encore.
We imported someone into the country who told us that the weather here is so nice in Pittsburgh. I think you and I looked at each other like, we've never heard this before.
He did say that it's so nice here.
Well, we have a pleasure of introducing Julien Haroun.
Thank you for having me, guys.
From Canada.
Montreal, Canada.
So do you speak both French and English?
No, well, I try my best to speak English, yeah.
Are we going to have subtitles?
Oh, maybe. Hopefully not.
Oui, oui. Bonjour. I'm
Hello.
going to Paris next week. So,
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
You got to work on
some
it.
words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just the basics.
Just the basics. So what's it like owning your own brand in Canada?
It's good. It's been a crazy ride so far. So I was working in the industry before, having my home brand for like 3 years. My partner for about 15 years. So when I started, everything grew so fast. We've been in business for like 37 months so far, and we're definitely in the top 5 business in Canada so far.
So what's the supplement industry like size-wise, Canada versus United States?
Probably 10% of the United States business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you're saying like maybe like 30 million.
Yeah, something like that. I heard a stat that there's just as much store in the state of California that there is in all Canada.
Jeez.
So this gives you an idea.
Okay.
And how's direct-to-consumer business in Canada? Are they starting to buy more direct-to-consumer, or is it trending as quickly as here in the U.S.?
Definitely not as quick as it happens in the U.S., especially with Amazon Prime and everything. I think the retail business is still very strong in Canada compared to here in the U.S., but definitely a trend going to direct-to-consumer for sure.
So I hear the big retail in Canada is Popeyes.
There's Supplement King, Popeyes, some big players like Shop Santé in Quebec too, Bulldog, Ergs. I'm afraid to, forget someone here because they're all gonna.
Oh, Julia didn't mention us on the We Make Supplements podcast.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of big players there, and
Yeah.
it's still very strong.
Are there any big websites? I know Amazon's in Canada now.
Amazon's good, yeah. Bodybuilding.ca used to be good. I don't think there's as good now. But every big retailers have their own website, which is probably doing good. I don't have stats on these, but that's my feeling.
So from a marketing perspective, how do you determine where you're going to drive traffic through your marketing efforts? I mean, is that some of your top retail partners, or you just put the marketing out in general and let people know where it's available? How do you do that?
Since we work with different retailers, it's hard for us to just be specific about marketing. So I'd usually just put out the brand as general marketing. I think it's the best way to do it. Yeah, so we work a lot with influencer marketing, and we just build groups of influencers in all regions of Canada and just ask them to push traffic around in the stores.
Cool.
So, yeah, we don't even drive traffic to our own website because the retail business is so good.
That's good to hear.
Okay, we need to talk about something I really need to educate some people about.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Getting supplements into Canada is probably the hardest country in the entire world.
It is, yeah.
Literally, right? I remember when we were trying to get shreds approved in Canada, there was just no way. I mean, granted, we had ingredients in it that Canada would just never allow. But like, you can't have too much vitamin C in a capsule. They like have like a level 1, 2, 3 approval system.
Yeah.
It's Canada National Health.
Health Canada.
Yeah. Health Canada, right? Okay. And you have to get a code called an NPN.
NPN, yeah.
Right. And then that's like your approval. Like, hey, that Health Canada reviewed this product, and you're allowed to import it into the country. Or you're allowed to sell it in the country. Importing is an entire another, like...
It's a different ballgame,
right,
for sure, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, you must be an expert on MPNs and, like, these, like, different categories and stuff. Like, why is Canada, like, so crazy about, like, these ingredients and, like, what they let in?
I don't know, bro. I don't work for the government, but
you don't have Trudeau on, like, speed dial?
No. But my father works with him.
Does he really?
Yeah,
What did your dad do?
I don't know how to say that in English, but...
is he like a CIA spy?
Not this high, but it's pretty high. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he's going to help
Attaché. I like that word, attaché.
Something like that.
I mean, when was your first experience with MPNs?
Well, when we started dealing with MPNs, I want to say about 8 years ago, when we had a brand. Well, we still have the brand, but we started working with Health Canada on that. I want to say we have probably 7 or 8 NPNs for different SKUs that we sell in Canada. And then for the facility here, we have our Health Canada site license. So it makes things a little bit easier for people in Canada that are using us for manufacturing as well.
So how long does it take to get an MPN?
It depends. So you have 3 classes, like you.
Right.
You said before you got class 1, 2, and 3. So class 3 would be something where you need more study to prove the efficiency of the product, like a pre-workout, any fat burners, test boosters, things like that. I remember Pump Addict, our best seller in Canada, it took us 9 months to get approval from Health Canada to be able to sell this product. Same for the test booster, same for the energy burner. But if you go with like a monohydrate creatine, it's going to take up anywhere between 30 days to 45 days to be able to sell it. Yeah.
Are there a lot of people with class 3 supplements in Canada?
Yeah.
Or like you one of the few?
Everything goes under class 3 now because, even a regular BCA would be class 3 now.
BCA?
BCA is class 3.
And what do you have to prove with a BCAA?
I don't know. They just need studies on leucine and like every ingredient you put in it. It's just
interesting. It's been a while since we've done it. That's why.
Yeah, I remember in Germany when you just told me, no, you can launch any product at any time in the U.S. I was like, oh my God, this is fascinating. I need to go there and just launch as many SKUs as I can.
He made me wait 9 very slow, grueling months before he finally came to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. He wanted to wait till the weather was great and it was snowing.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here when it was too hot.
Only tropical storm season.
No, but go ahead.
I was waiting for the Steelers to play, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
How was the game?
It was great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming in. It's interesting. I think a topic that we talk about pretty often are expos, right? And it's interesting. You're from Canada, we're from the U.S., but we met at an expo in Germany.
I know.
Right? and you guys didn't have a booth there.
No,
and we didn't have a booth there. And it just kind of talks a little bit about expos and how to really create value for your company by going. And, people aren't really seeing the value in the, actual getting booths and stuff like that. So do you guys still do any expos? I think you mentioned yesterday you do one pretty big one in Canada, but there's a lot of people to meet just by going and hanging out and spending that time on a plane to get there.
I agree. This is what we do. We go to Olympia, we book some meetings, around the show. Same for Columbus, but the only expo we do is the one in Toronto. It's called the Toronto Pro Show. It's the biggest show in Canada, and it's still worth it. But having seen the Olympia this year, I was like, I don't think I would pay for a booth to be there. Yeah, like you said, all the values in meeting people and just walking the show, I think.
I agree.
So for you with such a strong retail presence, is your booth like a retail sponsored booth? Are you partnering with like one of these stores, or do you just do it on your own?
I go on my own. Like I do for marketing, I go just general and try to bring as much people as I can to the booth. And we've been very successful this year. Hopefully you're going to be able to make the trip this year and see how big it is.
Oh man, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there in my trench coat and like gloves and like beanie, everything. When is it?
Around June 10th.
Is that considered?
You'll only need a sweater in
only
June.
Need a sweater. Okay. All right, so let's get an understanding of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Canadian to U.S. dollar conversion.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like right now?
I think it's about I make like 31 cents on the dollar.
So if you're a Canadian brand, does it make more sense to manufacture in the States and import it in, or to manufacture in Canada? And then, if you have customers in the United States, like export it out.
Retail-wise, it doesn't make sense because if your commercial invoice is over $800, they're going to stall at the border. They're going to charge you custom fees and everything. For direct consumer in the U.S., we ship from Canada, and it still makes sense until I'm going to have my warehouse here in Chicago or Bethlehem. But no, you have to manufacture in the U.S., stock in the U.S. if you want to sell here, for sure.
I guess that makes sense. So let's say there's other brands, because you're probably one of the larger brands in Canada.
Yeah.
Let's say that there's a smaller brand in Canada. When is the right time to make that switch to start talking to a U.S. manufacturer?
I don't know. When you feel like you're ready to move, when you have enough experience in the market and you believe in yourself. Because the more I think and strategize about the U.S., the more I realize how big the difference is between the two markets, and you have to adapt to. Even yesterday when we were doing the flavoring, I was like, I don't like this speech. And you were like, no, this speech is very good in the U.S. And there's so many difference you have to go through. And, influencer marketing here is crazy.
He was telling me that Brisk iced tea
is
like the best flavored iced tea in all of Canada.
Brisk is the shit in Canada.
And I'm like, Snapple, bro. They're the best stuff on earth. Shout out Snapple. Send us free cases.
Yeah, so
I personally like the Arnold Palmer's, the lemonade iced tea mix. I haven't been able to go back to straight iced tea with a splash of lemon in a long time.
I mean, who doesn't like an Arnold Palmer with a little bit of vodka?
Yeah.
Right now we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking my language.
All right, so But is with this conversion rate, I know, Sean, when we were in Europe, we were talking about how, depending on the strength of the dollar, sometimes it makes more sense to manufacture here in the States than in like your own your country.
Yeah, so, a lot of people, especially in the U.S., when you're watching the news and stuff, they talk about the dollar being strong right now, and that's a good thing, right, overall. But when you're a business owner that's doing international business around the world, sometimes that could be a negative impact, right? Because if the dollar is strong, then some of those savings where someone maybe in Europe or another country were typically getting maybe 20 to 30% savings by buying here in the U.S., that gets shrunk down, right? So if that gets shrunk down to 10 or 15%, then all of a sudden you're looking at, after shipping and everything, it might not make as much sense. So, as an American, great, like a strong dollar. As a business owner that does business in 25 countries, sometimes it's okay to be slightly weak in the dollar.
Well, I know when it comes to shipping, when we had shreds, we were charging $29.99 to send stuff to Canada. Man, Canadian customers were so upset.
$29.99 to ship?
Just to ship to Canada.
Wow.
I mean, we had to. The USPS charge to get to anywhere in Canada was at least $16, $17. And then the customs fee that we would have to pay to get the product imported into Canada was another outrageous charge. I mean, what do you charge to ship to America right now?
I'm pretty generous. I think I have a free shipping policy over $129, but like the difference is
shameless plug.
I like it.
But the difference is I make money on the dollar right now, so that's why I'm more flexible this way.
Well, how long does it take for a shipment to get from Canada to a U.S. customer?
East Coast would be about 2-3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's pretty fast. But like California, Hawaii, all these places, maybe 5 to 8 days.
Do you have any customers in Hawaii?
We've done a couple orders there, yeah.
Okay. We might have to go visit them next time at winter.
That would be a
comes
good
around.
excuse to go there for sure.
Win a free weekend with Julien from Believe.
I like it. Do you have any concerns? I know that there's some talk right now in politics between the U.S. and Canada from switching from NAFTA to the MCA trade deal. Have you looked into that to see if it's going to impact you in your quest to bring your products to the United States?
I just crossed my finger that everything's going to stay the same for now.
All right.
Because that's worked so well for everyone. Okay, so let's talk about why you decided to jump into supplements. I know that you said you've been in the industry for a long time, but I mean, when I talk to people that are business owners in Canada, usually consumer packaged goods is not the direction that they go in, right? I mean, there's headaches. It's not as large of a market as it is like everywhere else in the world, and I mean, let's face it. I mean, people are cold and indoors most of the time, right? They're not outside showing off their bodies. So, I mean, what was your driving force to start this?
I'm a fitness passionate. Like, I'm super passionate about fitness and supplements, sports, everything. And I was an athlete for a company, and they offered me the chance to launch some products within their own line. And, I just started selling supplements, and it grew, and just, I don't know, opened my eyes to the opportunity I could have. And I was seeing all these big brands doing the same old same while the influencer marketing was growing, and I saw a new opportunity marketing-wise, and it just jumped on it, and it worked.
Yeah, so...
Wait, we're going to have to stop there. We're going to do another episode as to your stories, because I heard your story, and I know Sean's story
It's very similar. Yeah.
We should do a whole nother episode on that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right, so let's go to a different topic.
Okay.
When you are looking at packaging in Canada versus packaging here in the States, I know you saw some of our packaging with About Time. It's just drastically different, right? With all the different competitors here, I mean, you're going to have, I don't know, 1,000 some different ISO protein brands in the States. I mean, what do you guys do to separate yourself from everyone else in retail up there?
But what we've done is launch unflavored protein and then sell the flavors on the side. That has been very successful for us. But I think the biggest difference I see in the US is that you don't have to put French on your labels. So we have to put two languages.
Right. You have bilingual labels.
Yeah. So you lose a lot of marketing space on your tubs. That's the biggest difference we have, I'm sure.
Has there been any innovative solution to that?
Not really.
I remember as a kid, there'd be those baby Tylenol bottles. But then, you could rip open the label to see more information.
It's not legal to do that.
Oh, it's not legal to do that.
No, you cannot do it.
Oh man, in America you get away with anything.
Oh yeah, I know.
Land of the free.
You guys have all the good stuff here.
America.
Okay, so with packaging though in retail, where do you think the direction is going in for Canadian customers? I know, like here, we were talking about shrinks during your visit here, and we're talking about how showcasing flavors a little bit more might be something that's really in. I know over here everyone's doing it, right? I think Dymatize just did a rebrand. I'm like, this looks kind of familiar. I wonder where they got this idea from. Shots fired.
Oh, I thought you did the rebrand.
No.
Okay.
Man, if I had that corporate paycheck for that rebrand, that would have been nice. But I mean, I'm seeing brands turn around and show those flavors more. I'm like, well, what's going on with that in Canada?
I think we could just simplify in one word, and the key to success in labeling is simplicity. Sometimes I just look at a tub. It's called, I don't know, Big Bag Boom, and this is a pre-workout. Why don't you just call it pre-something or like pre-workout? I think a lot
You
of
don't like Big Bad Boom?
Hey, this is the first word that comes to mind, but yeah,
I know there's a product out there probably called that too.
probably. But I saw some crazy shit on the shelves.
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
what the hell is that? And it's a BCAA. And I'm like, oh my god.
Someone right now at home is going on GoDaddy and seeing if the domain's available. I remember when we started Shreds, we started another line called Black Label Supplements.
Okay.
And literally every single logo on the label was like skulls and like death signs, and we tried to make it as hardcore as possible. Is Canada like a hardcore market, or is it more like a mainstream market when it comes to products?
It's more mainstream for sure.
It's just because MPNs won't allow anything hardcore in, right?
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be impossible to get any of that stuff approved.
No, any of the good stuff is not going to get approved.
Any of the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying Canada supplements aren't as good as American supplements?
I mean, you guys have Yo and Buying legal. That's pretty good.
Which you found out a little bit about yesterday.
Yeah, I had too much Yo and Buying yesterday.
Oh, man. Reminds me of the niacin story. Okay, so with the overall market of supplements in Canada compared to America, what are you most excited about here?
The opportunity to go really big.
Really big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $1 billion market in the States.
I don't know how big, but like
It's big.
I want to replicate everything that we've done in Canada at scale.
And do you think advertising online is easier for the American customer than is the Canadian customer?
I don't know. I think it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, what's the one thing you're most afraid of?
Definitely not the weather.
As a young entrepreneur doing what you've done already, the correct answer I would think would just be nothing.
Yeah, I was just
Nothing.
about to say nothing, man.
Yeah.
Chip off the old block.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the thing that would scared me the most when I went into different countries was how long it would take for people of that country to literally believe in the brand, right? I know when we were breaking into Canada, I mean, people were like, there's no way this is going to ship to me in a day or two, right? We're used to getting this thing in 2 to 3 weeks. That's how long it takes when they were ordering from Canada, like from us.
Wow.
And so when we launched the 2 warehouses in Canada, I mean, I don't think anyone like believed that they would get it the next day. And when they started getting shipments the next day, that's when we were able to like to screenshot the responses and share it on social media. We even created separate accounts for Canada on social media. I mean, are you going to be separating like the social media platform accounts?
No.
It's all
I
gonna
think
be
the,
one.
the cultures are so similar that I don't need to do it. But in Australia, we're thinking about doing a Believe Australia because the culture is different and, blah, blah, blah. But
Using kangaroos and koalas.
yeah,
and
sandy beaches and everything.
Can kangaroos use test boosters? I see some jack kangaroos.
Yeah, kangaroos are jacked.
All right, so I mean, we're gonna end this episode with one last question.
Okay.
What was your favorite part about the tour and experience so far in Pittsburgh, other than the weather, because apparently it's like a tropical vacation for him, and other than the football game?
Okay. Shit,
Right.
I was about to say the football game.
Was that your first time at a football game, an
NFL
American
stadium?
football game?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It was a crazy experience. So what I like the most is that you guys walk the walk. Everything you talked to me about in Germany, in terms of communication, quality control, everything. I mean, I saw it here.
That's great.
You guys
we
are for
appreciate
real,
that. There's no
and-
show, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a smoke show. You guys are for real. And I recommend every brand owner, you want to come to the U.S., you should give Sean a call. And
Or Encore.
or Encore. Yeah.
Depends on what hour of the night. you call.